Welcome back. Now it's time to continue modeling here. What I have done is I've gone ahead and I've created a brand new scene here. What we're going to be creating is an HD flat screen TV for our entertainment center for our house. So let's go ahead and let's have a look very quickly here at what we're going to be creating. I'm going to go ahead and open up an image file here. And as usual, I've collected reference images from the internet. And what I found is reference images for sort of an HD TV, Sony Bravia. That's what I found here, which is pretty interesting. So let me go ahead and open up one of these images, and this is what we have. You can see here, it's a pretty simple design here. Pretty interesting. If we look at these reference images, you can see that I've collected reference images of the back sides as well as the sides, because we have this area here with all these little plugs, little inputs. On the side here we have more inputs for HDMI and things like that. So you can see we have quite an interesting amount of modeling to go here to be able to reproduce this TV. Now, one thing that's very important, this TV is not the centerpiece model of our scene. It's basically just a background prop, so we're not going to waste time modeling all these extra details that we don't need to model, because it would be a huge waste of time. And one thing that's very important about 3D modeling is to be very efficient. So you want to spend all of your precious time, your limited resources and energy and time, on modeling things that are important and have priority. And little details like this do not have priority unless if we were just going to go ahead and work on a project that's centered around this TV. Then it'd be a whole different story and you would have to model all these details. Okay? So we're basically going to make a TV that's not very detailed in the back. Mainly because we're going to be seeing mostly the front. Okay? So this is what we're going to end up creating. So let me minimize that. The way I'm going to do this is in a brand new scene, and I'm going to set up some blueprint images that I've prepared that are going to help us to model this a lot easier. Okay, so I'm going to go to the front view that's up here, hit Alt and B, and we've done this before. So I'm just going to do the same thing that I've done before. I'm going to go to my reference images, and I've prepared a front reference image here. I'm going to make sure that I select Match Bitmap and Lock Zoom and Pan, hit OK, and there's my reference image. I'm going to go to the left view over here and hit Alt and B. I've also got a left view image here of the TV. So I'm going to match the bitmap, lock the zoom and pan, hit OK, and we're good there. I don't need a top view, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch out from a top view to a, let's see, I have a back image. I also have a right. What I'll probably do is let me go ahead and set up a back image. That's always pretty useful. In this case, it's going to be pretty useful. So I'm going to go get my back image. Match the bitmap and lock zoom and pan. There we go. And then obviously in my perspective view, I'm not going to have anything. Okay, so this is pretty much what I've got. Now, if these reference images set up properly, I can go ahead and start modeling this. So let me actually go ahead and do that. I'm going to go into my front view here. I'm going to turn the grid off real quick. I'm going to use a plane. And I'm just going to drop it on top of my TV in the picture right there. Okay. I'm going to change the length and width segments to 1 and 1. Okay. Alright, so we have our starting geometry that we can use to begin creating this guy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this to an editable poly so that we can start actually working with this guy here and get going. So let's go ahead and let's do that. I can see in my left view that I need to extrude the geometry out to about here. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to select that polygon. I'm going to extrude. Then I'm going to go back to my left view. I can see the polygon here. I'm going to bring it out to about right here. And yeah, that's going to work out just fine. Maybe I'll pull it out a little bit more. Now I'm just getting picky again as usual. Okay, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and let me see. Probably gonna extrude this again. Go back into my left view. Pull it out here to the front. Let me show you what I'm doing here. If I look at my reference images, especially one of these angled images, it's a little bit hard to see here. You can see here in this bottom corner how the front appears to be sort of this panel that sticks out from the main body of the TV. If I look at different reference images, it becomes apparent and it becomes clear. Right here you can clearly see it. Here's the main body of the TV. This thing sort of just chamfers out over here, and you have this sort of panel right here where the actual screen is. It's a little bit difficult to see. That's why it's really important to get plenty of image reference when you need it, as well as good images. Make sure they're the highest resolution possible, and make sure you've got images of many angles. Okay, so I'm gonna say that I'm happy with this. I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna extrude it one more time. I'm gonna go back to my left view, and this extrusion I'm gonna pull it back, so I'm gonna make a very thin piece in the front right there, just like the real TV there. From what I could tell in the images, looks something like that. Okay, now you can see here in the image, this part right here is sort of chamfered in. If I go to the bottom, you can clearly see the same result. And right, what I want to do is I want to take these vertices that I have right here, and I want to move them up to about here. So I could see in the reference image, that's just the way that it is. And in the front view, it looks like I'm good. So I'm going to go back to the perspective view. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that edge right there. I'm going to select its ring all the way around. And what I'll do is I'll connect this probably one time down the middle. And I'm going to take this connection and I'm going to go ahead and scale it. I'm not going to scale it too much, just a bit. Something like this might work out pretty good. And then with that scaled, I'm going to go and use the chamfer options here. I'm going to chamfer it from the beginning to the end. Now, one important thing, when I do that, when I slide the chamfer all the way to the beginning and the end, it's going to put multiple vertices on top of each other, and I'll show you in a moment what I'm talking about. I'm going to give this about maybe 8 segments. Looks pretty good. I'll hit OK. If I come over here to this corner, this vertex, and I move it, you'll notice that it's lying on top of another vertex. So we have geometry on top of geometry. That's not good. Okay, so to fix that, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to go to vertex mode and hit Control A to select all the vertices. I'll go to weld. I'll go to the options. I'm going to knock the weld threshold all the way down. You'll see that before it says 52 vertices. Now it says 44. I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And let me see if that fixed my vertex problem. And it did. You can see that I no longer have a vertex on top of a vertex. It fixed that issue up very quickly and easily. If I render this out, I see the shape that I'm kind of getting right there. Okay, that's exactly what I wanted. Back to polygon mode, select this polygon in here. And what I'll do is I'll go over here to the front view. And I'll hit F2 so I can see this better. I'm going to use the inset tool. I'm going to inset this to about right here, so the edges kind of match up with the frame there of the TV. Now this bottom edge didn't match up, so very easily, very quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and grab that bottom edge and just move it up so it matches up with the image better. Okay, so something like that. Go back to perspective view. Now you can see that I have a polygon right in here, which I can simply take and use the extrude options here to extrude it into the model a little bit. Just a bit, something like this looks pretty good maybe. Yeah, I'm going to leave it like that. Looks good. Okay, so I end up with something that looks like this. Alright, so I'd say the front is practically done, at least for now. And then the back over here, I want to select that border of edges, and I want to cap it because I'm going to need a polygon back there. I'm going to take this polygon, let me go to this left view here to see what I need to do. I basically have to extrude this back part and make it reach over here. So let me go to the extrude options. Use the slider here and push this all the way to the back part right there. Hit OK. Go to vertex mode, select those vertices that are in the back right there, and I'm going to move them down like so. Okay, just following the contours and rough shape here of the TV. The idea right now is to get the volume of the TV down. Once we do that, we can start working on the actual details. What I'll do here is I'll probably go to the back view. Okay, and I'm going to just scale this down. You can see in the back it's sort of curved. And if I look at my reference images, and I cycle through some of these, you can see at the back has this sort of curve up here. See that? If I go to one of my angled pictures, you can clearly see it. Right here, you can clearly see this, what I'm talking about, this sort of curvature back here. We want to go ahead and imitate that, that shape right there. So I'm going to scale this out to about, maybe about right here is good. We'll try that out, see how that works. Okay. Alright, so we basically have this back polygon like this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge mode, and I'm going to select this edge here and this edge here. Okay. And I'm going to use the chamfer tool. And the default amount actually looks pretty good. I'm liking that pretty good. Maybe I'll just push it out like this. I'm going to push it out so that the edges here, this edge right here, this red one, goes into this one right there. So I'm going to chamfer it out until it goes to the end right there. Okay, like that. Then I'm going to hit 8 segments. Looks like it's actually pretty good, so I'll hit OK. Render that out. See how that looks? Starting to look like the TV, especially right up here. Looks pretty good. Now, because I chamfered all the way to the edges, I'm going to have some vertices on top of each other. So again, I'll select all the vertices, go to the weld options, and make sure the threshold is set to 0. And you can see that the before is 88, after is 84. So that automatically tells you right there that some vertices were eliminated, and they were, so perfect. Alright, so we've got pretty much the front done. We've got some of these details done. We've got most of the volume of the TV done. As you can see here, we've imitated the main important parts of the volume or the shape of this thing. Okay, what I'm going to do is end this video here. In the next one, we're going to start to model in and carve in the details of this thing to make this thing look a little bit more realistic.